Hey, what's going on, folks? Balaji O here, and I wanted to share a video with you today to just update you on how things are going on my end. So, I've been working on a couple of new books, several new books actually. I'm very excited about sharing them with the world. They've been in the works, and you guys have given quite the insight and input into these books. The first book that we're going to be coming out with is El Valiente. His name is Juan Carlos Hidalgo Rodriguez. And El Valiente is from Mexico. He's half Mayan, so half indigenous, and half Mexican. And we're going to release a 3-book series starting on September the 30th. So you should have more information about that very soon. But let me tell you a little bit about where Juan Carlos actually came from. So the concept came from the fact that I'm very interested. I've always been fascinated with different cultures. Growing up in Nigeria and having the privilege to live in the United States for now over half of my life, I've been able to experience, and traveling to a lot of other countries as well, I've been able to experience quite a number of different cultures. Combine that with perhaps an unhealthy obsession with reading fantasy fiction and superhero stories and mythology. As a kid, I've really kind of developed this fascination with the power of story. And in particular, there is one story that has become central or almost become like a meta description of all these other stories. It's called The Hero's Journey. There's a book titled The Hero with a Thousand Faces, and it was written by Joseph Campbell, I think in 1954 or thereabouts. And Joseph Campbell essentially talked about how all these timeless stories going back thousands of years up until today in contemporary Hollywood, you find the same patterns, you find the same type of characters, you find the same story arc. It's always a story arc. The hero's journey is always a story arc of seeking something external and eventually finding out that what you were looking for was looking to plug a gap internally. You end up with a lot of character growth and internal hero's journey, if you will. But the audience is focused on the external journey. They just don't realize the character has a lot of growing up to do. And so that hero's journey has become central in my storytelling. And the funny thing is, you've heard the expression art imitating life. You'll actually find that, or I've found, I should say anyway, I've found that in looking over some of the chapters of my life, there have been a lot of parallels. There have been a lot of parallels there. I'm walking on the trail in our neighborhood. Let me see if I can flip the camera. We have a deer right on the path, or a deer bruh. I'll just turn the camera around. There's a couple of them, it looks like. The deer bruh. If anyone is familiar with Kevin Hart's comedy, a deer bruh is a cross between a zebra and a deer. Pay me no mind. Goodness, it's a whole family of them. So anyway, I'll kind of let you take you on my nature walk with me. So with the hero's journey, I've been fascinated in telling these stories from the lens of different cultures around the world, different cultures here at home as well, and just kind of trying to reflect this story that's universal to all of us. Now, a lot of times you have certain kids that aren't represented in these type of heroic roles the way they would like to be. We all like to see ourselves in the heroic role, okay? We all want the hero to look like us. And subconsciously, that does something to you when you see a hero that looks like you. It makes you feel like, hey, maybe I could do that too. It's perhaps one of the reasons why Peter Parker, Spider-Man, is my favorite superhero. Everybody has like a favorite superhero. It's kind of like the top 5 in rap, or top 5 artists in whatever genre. Everybody has their own list. Spider-Man tops my list for superheroes. And the reason why Superman is really cool, but he's way too overpowered. Superman has not had that internal arc. He didn't have as high to climb because he started off pretty well adjusted, okay? He had all the powers in the world he could possibly want. That's not what I want in a hero. I want somebody who struggled like I struggled. You know, I struggled. I was a shy kid growing up. You know, I dealt with, you know, people bullying me at times, like almost all of us did. I think that's a rite of passage as a kid. I dealt with struggling to find my voice, find my place in the world. And so eventually growing out of all that and realizing, oh, wow, there actually is a happy ending to all this, despite all of my foibles, despite all of my shortcomings. I was like, you know, I want to tell those kind of stories to kids who are at the beginning of their journey. I want to show them heroes that look like them. Sorry about the lighting. I'm kind of walking through the woods here. And so over the coming weeks and months, I'm going to kind of take you guys on the journey with me so you can see what I've been doing with these heroes. So Juan Carlos is going to be the first one. He's from Mexico City. He's a 15-year-old street kid, or rat kid as they call homeless kids in, I didn't make that up. They call homeless kids in Mexico City. So he's a rat kid. He doesn't know his parents. He grows up on the street with his friends. And he ends up being the only thing that stands in the gap for the country of Mexico. He ends up being the only thing that can possibly save Mexico from destruction. A street kid. You'll also hear about Jeremiah Baltimore. I'm gonna put my shades back on because the sun's coming out again. You hear about Jeremiah Baltimore. He's a kid from Detroit. He's an orphan, 15-year-old. He's dyslexic, okay? But it turns out he's also a mechanical genius. Most people don't know that,